Good morning, students. Today we are going to start your history section, chapter number 8, studying the past. So, in this chapter, we are going to take up the things that are history, prehistory, and then the sources from which we get these kind of information. They are archaeological sources, they are literary sources, and other sources we will study. History is the study of change over time and progress from the past to the present world. As we know, what is history? History, when we study about our past and how we made progress, the events through which we made progress to the present world, that is history. It can be defined as a systematic description of the past events. So, how we describe history? Systematic representation. In a proper manner, events are given to you. Events you study in a proper manner, in a proper hierarchy. It is based on facts and not on imagination. So, whatever you study in history, that is particularly based on facts. It is not the imagination of anyone. It helps us to learn about the great people, culture, art, and architecture of earlier times. History motivates us to make the present world a better place to live in. Then studying history is very important. Because of history only you can read about the great people that were there in the past, our culture, art, and architecture. You can study about these things. Now, what is prehistory? History is divided into two parts. Prehistory refers to that period when the art of writing was unknown. So, prehistory was a period when writing was not there, people were not able to write. Our information about prehistory depends upon the elements, the remains of tools, bones, pottery, and weapons that have been excavated. So when writings were not there, then how we get the information about history? Prehistory, we get the information from the weapons used by people, tools used by people, bones, pottery, other things that has been, you know, taken out from the earth by excavation. Archaeologists working as an excavation site. Very carefully they do this work. We learn about the age of artifacts through carbon dating also. Carbon dating is a process through which we come to know about the age. History. First we have studied prehistory, then we will study history. History refers to the period after the invention of writing. So history is a period when writing was invented, people started writing. The writing records, dates, names, and places of people may be on Bhojpatra, palm leaves, or pillars, or sources are sources of information. So history is a period when writing was invented, people started writing. They used to write on leaves, Bhojpatra, on pillars. History is generally categorized into three periods, namely ancient, medieval, and modern. So, this history, basically, history is divided into two: prehistory and history. Then, again, history is divided into three, that is, ancient, medieval, and modern history. Do you know? AD does not mean after death, it is an abbreviation for Anno Domini, which is a Latin phrase meaning the year of our Lord, referring to the year of child's birth. In most usage, BCE stands for before the Common Era and CE stands for the Common Era. BCE is used in place of BC and CE is used in place of AD. The word common in both instances refers to Gregorian calendar. For example, 2015 can be written as CE 2015. Let us see how a historian studies a source material. Source material is they are available evidence and then draw conclusions. The source material can be divided into two categories: archaeological source material and literary sources. So, source material is divided into two: archaeological source material and literary sources. So, firstly, we will study about archaeological sources. Archaeological source material. Some material of the past are buried deep under the earth. They are either discovered by chance or archaeologists dig certain places and find ancient inscriptions, coins, pots, or buildings. You can see this is Mohenjo-daro. The study of these remains tell the archaeologists about the religious, social, and cultural conditions. So these remains tell a lot to the archaeologists. You know, archaeologists find out so many things about the excavations they have found. You can see the picture of Mohenjo-daro. You can see it is a buried town. It was excavated by the archaeologists, and they studies a lot of things about them. So for example, buildings excavated from Mohenjo-daro provide useful information about the Indus Valley civilization. They are telling a lot of information about Indus Valley civilization. The archaeological source material are mainly inscriptions, coins, monuments, sculptures, paintings, articles of daily use, and skeletons. So, inscriptions they have made, coins they have used, monuments also, buildings they have used, sculptures, some kind of idols they have, if they have made, paintings, and articles of daily use, and skeletons. Now, inscriptions. What are inscriptions? They are the writings which are engraved on rock, pillar, clay tablets, and walls of the temples and caves. You can see in the picture. Ashoka's inscription. It is a writing that is engraved. It is not written on the paper, and if you touch it, you can feel the letters. That is a difference in simple writing and inscription. They tell us about the kings, their empires, achievements, as well as the society and the language of that period, because they are written. So they give a lot of information to us about the lives of the people. The inscription of Ashoka's period tell us about his achievements, the field of administration, and the steps he took, like building hospitals, wells, etc., for the welfare of the public. Ashoka's inscription also tells us so many things. You know, if that inscription would not be there, how we will come to know about Ashoka's life and what he has done. From that inscription, it was quite clear that he made so many hospitals and other works he has done for the betterment of the people. The inscriptions were put up in places where common people could read them easily. The study of inscription is called epigraphy. Very important. So inscription, they put inscription at a place where people can go and read them, because it cannot be harmed by people. It is engraved. It is not written on a paper, it is engraved. And the study of inscription is known as epigraphy. In earlier times, coins were made of different materials like lead, copper, bronze, silver, iron, gold, and even leather. They give us useful information about the art, religion, rulers, and the use of different metals and the level of development of technology. So, you know, coins are very important. If you find coin, you can study a lot of things about that time. You can see coin of Samudragupta. The given picture of one such coin is of King Samudragupta. The study of coin is called numismatics. Here, the study of inscription is epigraphy, and here the study of coins is called numismatics. Coins of Indian rulers have been found in many countries. This indicates that India had trade relations with foreign countries also. So these things we come to know. Indian coins were found in many other countries, but that show that Indians had a trade relation with others also. Monuments are the remains of temples, stupas, places, and forts. Monuments, you know, big buildings. They are the remains of big buildings, Sanchi Stup. These ancient buildings help the historians to collect information about the social and economic life, and the religious beliefs, dress, art forms, and architecture of that time. From monuments also, so many kind of information we can get the information about the social and economic life, how the society was, how their economy was doing, their religious belief, what kind of beliefs were there of their religion, their dresses, so many things. Skeleton are also a very useful source of information. So, how skeleton is a useful source of information? The study of skeletons tries to know every minute detail about the skeletons and list their findings. So, when they study skeleton, they used to note down every small finding. For example, the skeleton of a woman generally has a broader hip or pelvic area for childbearing. Jewelry found on the skeleton also helps in determining whether the skeleton belonged to a woman or a man. So study of skeletons also they do, and that also come in archaeological sources. So archaeological materials are inscriptions, coins and skeletons mainly, and even monuments are. And in the next video we will study about the literary sources. So revise the chapter and remember the terms and note down them if you want. Thank you. Have a nice day, students.